Hello, sports fans. We are ready for the Sweet 16 as the March Madness has begun. How many people had Villanova and Duke in the East region going out before the round of 16? And how many people had South Carolina making the Sweet 16? I'll tell you, the first 2 days of the tournament was kind of status quo, kind of what we thought. Then it got really crazy Saturday and Sunday. Let's do a quick preview of the Sweet 16 matchups and a quick recap of what went on over the weekend. Let's start in the East region this week with Madison Square Garden being the host. You have two big games at Madison Square Garden. The first matchup will be Wisconsin against Florida. Wisconsin beat Vatech and then they beat Villanova. What a great job by Wisconsin. I told you last week, no team has won more tournament games than Wisconsin the last few years. They knock off top seed Villanova, the number one overall seed in the tournament, a team that had won the national championship last year. You thought when Villanova had a 7-point lead with just a few minutes to go, they were going to make it, but Wisconsin was gutty. They were gritty. They made all the big shots, the big three-pointer on the out-of-bounds play, the big baseline layup to put them ahead. Then they had two big defensive stands, including that one at the end of the game. Gritty, gutty win by Wisconsin. Tremendous job by them. I know it's a bitter pill for the Villanova fans to swallow. I mean, they won the national championship last year. They were top seed. They were hoping they could get to the Garden, maybe have that big matchup against Duke. Very, very hard to win back-to-back titles in the NCAA. It really is. That's why I picked against Villanova to get to the Final Four. Didn't think they'd go out this early. Nothing to be ashamed of if you're a Villanova fan. You won the national title last year. You won the Big East tournament. You won the Big East regular season title. You'll be knocking on the door, very, very shortly. Jay Wright's a very good recruiter. He'll have his team back very, very soon. So that was that. As far as Wisconsin's matchup in the Sweet 16, they will play Florida. Florida beat East Tennessee State, and then they just laid it on Virginia. Held Virginia to 39 points. What an awful job by Virginia. Listen, I like the Virginia coach, Bennett. I like the way they play defense, but they cannot score. I mean, 39 points in a tournament game? That's not going to get it done. Give Florida credit. They had a big injury coming into this game, lost one of their key players for the whole tournament, and they just walloped Virginia. So you'll have Wisconsin, Florida in one matchup at Madison Square Garden, and the other matchup from MSG, you will have Baylor against South Carolina. Baylor beat New Mexico State, and then they beat USC. South Carolina beat Marquette, and then they pulled the stunner against Duke. I was shocked about this game. Duke was up 7 at the half. South Carolina was shooting about 20% for the game. I mean, you thought this was Duke's game all the way, and then all of a sudden in the second half, South Carolina caught fire. They shot 70% in the second half. So you shoot 20% in the first half, you shoot 70% in the second half against a Duke team that is known for defense. Duke gave up over 60 points in the second half. When does Duke ever give up that many points in any half against anyone? Duke looked a little flat to me, almost looked like they were looking ahead here, almost took South Carolina for granted. I thought South Carolina outworked them, out-hustled them. South Carolina has some talent. They have the SEC Player of the Year. Frank Martin can coach, so nice job by South Carolina. Duke came out a little flat. I didn't like their effort in the second half. South Carolina really blitzed them, and in this tournament, you got to be careful. Just one 10-minute bad stretch can knock you out of this thing, and that's what happened to Duke. Once they got behind, it all unraveled for them. And when they were down by about 10 with 6 minutes to go, I didn't like their body language at all. I didn't think they were coming back, and they didn't. Great job by South Carolina. They'll take on Baylor at Madison Square Garden. So that is your East region. As far as the West in San Jose, here are your Sweet 16 matchups. You'll have Gonzaga against West Virginia. What a tremendous game this is going to be. Gonzaga beat South Dakota State, and then they beat Northwestern. They were dominating Northwestern early. Then Northwestern went on a furious run, almost came all the way back. Bad call against Northwestern as well. There was a definite goaltending there on Gonzaga. So Northwestern got a bad break there, so Gonzaga hangs on. West Virginia beat Bucknell, and then they really controlled the game against Notre Dame. Very impressed by West Virginia in that game. So Gonzaga, West Virginia there. And then the other matchup out west in San Jose will be Xavier against Arizona. Arizona beat North Dakota, and then they beat St. Mary's. Despite not playing all that great, they beat St. Mary's. Kind of played St. Mary's game. Arizona didn't play the style I thought they should have in that game. Made things tougher than they should have been against St. Mary's, but they do get through. How about Xavier? They beat Maryland, and then they just obliterate Florida State. Xavier is a tremendous tournament team. They came into this tournament banged up, beat up, not playing well, the end of the season. But year after year after year, they win games in the tournament, and everyone forgets about them. Their coach, Mack, is as tough as nails. You know what Xavier reminds me of? They remind me of a tough junkyard dog. That's what they are. They're just tough. They're gritty. I mean, they're always there, year after year after year. Tremendous job by Xavier getting to this point. So that is your West region. As far as the Midwest, this will be in Kansas City. You will have Kansas against Purdue. Kansas beat UC Davis and then crushed Michigan State in the second half. Purdue beat Vermont and then beat Iowa State. Nice job by Purdue beating Iowa State. Iowa State was hot. They ran through the Big 12 tournament. Iowa State was down 19 in this game to Purdue. Actually came back and took the lead, and Purdue had the resolve to come back and win themselves. So nice job by Purdue. Very, very impressed with Purdue. Once they gave up the lead, they didn't give up on the game, and they came back and won. Really, really nice job by Purdue. The other matchup in the Midwest will be Oregon against Michigan. Oregon beat Iona, and then they beat Rhode Island in a very, very nice game. Rhode Island had a very good year. Hats off to Rhode Island there. Oregon does get through there. Remember, Oregon's playing without one of their key players, but they did make it to the Sweet 16. How about Michigan? Michigan is on one of those magic carpet rides, and we've seen this before, whether it's NC State or Villanova or Connecticut. You get on these magic carpet rides, you're hard to beat. Michigan beat Oklahoma State by 1. They're down by 9 points in the second half to a very good Louisville team. You think Louisville's going to win the game. Beeline did a tremendous job making adjustments in that game. Really flipped the game, and Michigan comes all the way back to win. Michigan is a dangerous team. They are on a magic carpet ride right now. And as far as the South region, games will be played down in Memphis. It'll be North Carolina against Butler. Butler beat Winthrop and Middle Tennessee State. Middle Tennessee State, of course, pulled the upset against Minnesota in round 1. North Carolina beat Texas Southern, and then they were on death's door against Arkansas. UNC was very fortunate to get out of this game. They're down by about 5 points with, a little over 3 minutes to go. They end up outscoring Arkansas, 12-0 the rest of the game. Big call that went North Carolina's way. I think Arkansas was down 1 when North Carolina, I think, got away with a travel and a charge in the same play. They didn't call it. North Carolina ends up getting a bucket there, going up 3. Big play in the game. I thought that was a total missed call by the referees, but give North Carolina credit. They really bared down on defense at the end of the game. Like I said, pitched a shutout the last 3 minutes of the game against Arkansas, but North Carolina was on death's door. They were down 5 points with a little over 3 minutes to go, but nice job getting through. They didn't play their best basketball in North Carolina. But just because you have a tough game like this, don't think North Carolina is going to, not have a chance to win the tournament now. You've seen this before. You escape one of these games, and then all of a sudden a switch goes on, and maybe you play your best basketball in the next game. Survive and advance. Doesn't matter how you do it. North Carolina found a way to get through. I think they're going to play better in the next game. I think they're going to handle Butler rather easily. That might be a game I may look to bet. I may want to check the point spread on that one. But I think North Carolina is going to play their best game against Butler, coming off this game where they were almost knocked out. Very fortunate to win. Give Arkansas credit for playing a tough game. And the other game down there in Memphis, this is just an all-time game. UCLA against Kentucky, 2 of the blue bloods, 2 of the classic programs in all of college basketball. UCLA handled Kent State and Cincinnati. Kentucky beat Northern Kentucky, and then they held on to beat Wichita State. That was a tough game. That was a grinded-out game. Wichita State probably deserved better, probably deserved a better seeding than they got. But Kentucky held on to win, and Kentucky-UCLA should be an all-timer. When I look at these matchups, Wisconsin-Florida, to me, is a toss-up game. That could go either way. Baylor-South Carolina. Before the tournament, I would say definitely Baylor, but South Carolina just beat Duke, so who knows there. As far as the West, Gonzaga, West Virginia, I mean, my goodness, Gonzaga's going to have to handle the ball better. I mean, West Virginia is they play a frenetic style, they trap a lot, they press a lot. Gonzaga's going to have to do a better job handling the ball. They almost fell apart against Northwestern. I could really see West Virginia pulling an upset here. Xavier, Arizona, you got to favor Arizona. As far as the Midwest, Kansas, Purdue. Listen, I like Purdue's front line. They showed me a lot beating Iowa State, but Kansas and Kansas City, hard to go against them there. Oregon, Michigan, I mean, you would have asked me this about a month ago, I'd say definitely Oregon. Now with the injury in Michigan on this magic carpet ride, I may lean towards Michigan there. As far as the South, I think UNC is going to have a big game against Butler. Look for North Carolina to play their best game so far in the tournament. They really, really were lucky to beat Arkansas. I think that's going to help them here. I think they're going to be revived. I think they'll handle Butler. UCLA, Kentucky is just an unbelievable game. I think Kentucky will have a big advantage as far as the home crowd. That game is in Memphis. That'll be all Kentucky blue down there. So this will feel like a road game in UCLA. But UCLA has had some huge wins this year and on the road. So this game is a just knock 'em out, drag 'em out type game. Could go either way. That's a must-watch game. So you got some tremendous games coming up this weekend. As far as the conferences, the Big Ten has 3 teams left, so the Big Ten has done very, very well. The Big Ten, they were knocking the Big Ten all year. They got 3 teams in the Final 16. SEC, same thing, 3 teams. They were knocking the SEC the whole year. They got 3 teams in the Sweet 16. Big 12, 3, no surprise there. Pac-12, 3, not really a surprise. Big East 2, I mean, I don't know what to make of that. I guess it's okay. They did have 5 teams knocked out already, so kind of okay. Gonzaga's in there, and how about the ACC? Only 1 team left. The ACC has been a disaster this year. Everyone thought the ACC was the best conference by far. They've been an absolute disaster. Now listen, if North Carolina goes on and wins the national championship, they can make the ACC look good. But so far, the ACC has been atrocious, and North Carolina was a couple minutes away from going out. So that's where you are with the tournament. I hope you guys are doing well. Thanks as always for the support. You guys enjoy these games. I mean, college basketball is tremendous this time of the year. It's really, really exciting. You guys stay happy, healthy, and safe. I will be back with you next week, and we'll talk about the Final Four. Take care.